You got to give me a little church chorus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Grace. The Bible says God chooses Abraham, finds Abraham, calls Abraham, speaks to Abraham, declares to Abraham, and gives Abraham a plan. But in order to establish Abraham as the father of a new faith, a faith where God interacts with us, not where we interact with him, a God that does not need your initiative, but he takes the initiative. See, it is the loving message of the gospel that he who wants friends must first show himself friendly. Do you understand that I didn't want to be God's friend, but God wanted to be my friend? And if God wants me to be his friend, he must first show himself friendly. Are you with me? Are you with me? Have you ever been driving in your car doing your own thing and out of nowhere you felt his presence? That's the Lord showing himself. Have you ever been at home cooking a meal, cleaning, and out of nowhere he hates you and your leg went, you were driving the car and almost had to pull that booger over because the Lord started to show himself friendly? And every time God does that, he's telling you, you couldn't come to me, but I could come to you. You weren't good enough to be like me, but I'm God enough to be like you. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me? Watch now. So God sees Abraham, and when he sees Abraham, he begins to initiate the relationship, and by initiating the relationship, he tells Abraham, he says, I want you now, after there is a series of other things that take place, God says to Abraham, I want you to give me your son. Now, the question of the sacrifice of Isaac has more to do with the question of Abraham and what was wrong with Abraham than what was right with Abraham. See, we teach that the sacrifice or the almost sacrifice of Isaac was the proof and the faith that established Abraham as a father in the kingdom. It is not. God does not say that Abraham receives faith because he tries to kill Isaac. He receives faith because he looks for a city whose founder and maker was God. He looks for a city that had no address. That was faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. When God said, kill Isaac, and Abram acted on it. Now, Isaac wasn't stupid. Isaac's going. He says, I see fire. I see some wood. I see a knife. Isaac has been to sacrifices before. The reason Isaac gets nervous is because he has been to sacrifices before. He knows that some people kill lambs and others kill their kids. Isaac says, where's the sacrifice? Now, Abram gets the boy all the way to the mountain and is about to kill him, and God stops him. See, God asking Abram to sacrifice his son, watch this, was not a revealing of faith, but was a revealing of what was wrong with Abraham. God tells Abraham, I want your son. Abraham is about to give it. God doesn't honor him because of that. It's not a sacrifice. It's not a blessing. Watch. God reveals to Abraham that if you are going to lead my people, you have to get out of you what other people are doing. You have become such a part of your culture. Oh, I knew you'd get quiet on this. You can't get this at the Bible bookstore. Abraham had become such a part of his culture that he was willing to kill his own son. Do you understand that God was saying, Abraham, you don't even know me. You don't even know me, because if you knew me, you would know that I wouldn't ask. God is not a sadist. He does not require cruelty to establish his kingdom. Watch it here. So when God says, I want your son, And Abraham gives it. God says, that's what's the problem with you, Abraham. Notice now, what's the first thing God does? God says, over there's a ram. Abraham, anything that I want from you, I will first give to you. And it will cost you nothing. Watch now. I'm going to show you because I'm going to take this to the cross in a second. But watch. God purifies Abraham and says, now I'm starting my own faith. And here's the premise of it. The premise of it is you can't do anything more or any less to make me love you any more or any less. What you give me doesn't give you favor. You have favor in the beginning. You don't give for, you give from. Now, what you bring to the altar is the evidence of the source, but not the desire. You're not getting it. What I place here then becomes the evidence of what I come from, not where I'm going to. Therefore, what I place here becomes evidence that where I am ministering from has an eternal source. Therefore, I ain't never in need. Because I'm not given to get, I'm given because I got. See, as long as I pray for something, then I don't have it. God does not answer what you're asking for, because as long as I ask for it, then I don't have it. So I will never get it as long as I want it. But when I know I am it and begin to pray from it, then he begins to give it because I already got it. Are you with me? Are you with me? So Abraham sacrifices the lamb that God provides. He doesn't ask for what he does not provide for. Watch. Now, what arises is a faith experience. Abraham begins to establish faith, begins to look for a city whose founder and maker is God, because any step, true faith, is in pursuit of what we don't see, what we don't even know, but because we don't have the specifics does not mean that we do not pursue it. See, Abraham understood that the builder and maker of the city was God. And therefore, if the builder and the maker of the city was God, then I am in pursuit of God. I will find the city, even if I go in the wrong direction. Oh, you didn't get that. See, when you are in pursuit of God, you can take a wrong turn and still be the right turn. You're not getting. See, Abraham knows that, because Abraham, before he had Isaac, had another son by the name of Ishmael. But before he had Isaac, he had a son by Ishmael. Now, everybody would say that Abraham's mistake with Hagar was a mistake and that Ishmael was a curse. But Ishmael was not a curse, because 2 generations down the road, when a man by the name of Jacob had some sons and Joseph was thrown in a pit about to die, the Bible says some Ishmaelites, see, some people that were the product of Abraham's mistake, came and got Joseph out of the pit and brought him to his destiny. Can I prophesy to you that yesterday's mistake will get you to tomorrow's plan? God can take your mistake and use it to deliver you to the plan and the promise that God has for you. Hang on, I'm gonna preach in just a second. So, sit down. I'm old, I can't do this all. It's too much like work. Hold on. Watch now. So the sacrifice comes. Very easy. Abraham understands this, and so God says, go look for the city. Abraham says, well, I don't know which way to go. Do I go north, south, east, and west? God says, just walk. Just walk. What do you mean just walk? Just find it. But where do I go to find it? God says that. See, you're looking for specifics. What you need to know is if you have me, you already have the city. See, Abraham, if you're looking for the city, you'll never find it. But if you walk in it, see, everywhere, Abraham, you put your feet is mine. So it don't matter which way you walk. Anywhere you go, it's mine. You're not getting it. See, Abraham, if you're looking for it, you ain't never going to find it. But if you start walking in it. See, early Christians were not called Christians. The Syriac word is ethudos. Ethudos means the way. When people used to ask in the first century, primitive Christianity, what religion were they or what faith did they follow, they would say, I am ethudo. I am on the way. The old mothers used to say that. Pray for me that I'll be the daughter he's calling for in these last and evil days. And then they'll get up and say, in the beginning, they say, I'm just on the way, children. There was some truth to that about being on the way, being in the way. See, when you are in the way, when you are on the way, when you are in the path, you can go. Sometime on the way you sit down. Sometimes you get tired. Sometimes people will pass you on the way. But as long as you're on the way, you okay. You understand? That there is a reality when I am walking in him and not looking for him. When I begin to understand the sum total of his pleasure with me is not found by what I do, but by what he did. Are you with me here? Now I don't live right to please him. I live right because I have already pleased him. See, I live right because I want to, not because I have to. Difference. Nobody wants anybody to be their friend because they have to. Nobody wants anybody to be their friend or lover because they are afraid of them. Are you with me here? Nobody wants a wife to come home and be faithful because she's scared that you will abuse her. You don't have a wife. You have a slave. Now, nobody wants a wife either that comes home because he gives her a Jaguar, keeps her dressed in St. John, has her wearing Bruno Magli, VSI diamonds set in platinum. But some of you say, well, maybe some of them don't. But let the Lord use him. Listen. Because the reality is that you don't have a wife. You have a high-paid prostitute. I want someone to love me. If I put diamonds or cubic zirconia, she's in love with me. Do you understand that the summation of my relationship does not have to do with this or fear? It has to do with love. And so the premise of true relationship with God is never about what I can get or what I'm afraid of. It is because I love him.